Well, that will wrap it up for our deep dive segment. But we've got a top Zen for you guys that pairs perfectly with us, which is the top 10 things that terrified us as children. And of course, we've got another intro for you as well. Doodle the dandy.
Somebody counting down in the back though, like somebody like 10.
Yeah.
9.
For real. Well, there we go, and we're back. Little lag there, but anyways, we are back with our top 10 things that terrified us as children. Childhood is a sensitive time, right? When the slightest little scare can send you into a frenzy of fear and uncertainty. Childhood is a sensitive time when the slightest scare can send you into a frenzy of fear and uncertainty. Whilst parents are usually on hand to provide the necessary comfort and reassurance, one or two scares that were expected as youngsters still haunt us to this very day. If you're anything like us, then it was your parents' TV screens that provided much of the fearful imagery for our young minds running riot. And whether it was a scary family films that claimed to be suitable for children or adult films that really you shouldn't have been watching, there were a number of cinematic moments and characters that sent us covering behind our 1990s sofa. And below are 10 terrifying characters that scared the life out of us when we were children. If you can bear to peep through the gaps of your fingers, we will be that will be shortly covering your eyes. Please do join us for a terrifying trip down nightmarish memory lane. And I'm going to start us off with one that didn't actually terrify me, but terrified my brother to a crazy extent. And it's definitely an unpredictable one, which is E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Yeah, we're starting off with a weird one with but E.T. did absolutely terrify my brother. So much so that I used to taunt him by hiding in the dark and say, E.T. phone home, E.T. phone home. And that fucking just like every single time, like, stop it. You know, you do that whole thing, call mom up, all that stuff, you know, because I was a bully. Maybe it was the hyper realistic appearance of ET, or you know, those ominous government officials who didn't really say anything and you couldn't see their faces, or maybe it was just that iconic cornfield jump scare scene towards the beginning of the movie. Whatever the case may be, my brother just absolutely head for the hills anytime ET was on screen whatsoever. Tried to even watch it again even a couple years later and still couldn't make it past the cornfield scene. And we couldn't even ride the ride at Universal. He would crawl up my parents like a fucking tree, because like the ET people were up in the trees around in the woods and stuff like that. And they would like pop out and say hi. And he'd be like, oh, fuck, no, that's terrifying, you know, like, and climb them up. And yeah, it was one that just absolutely terrified him as a child. And it's funny because even now, pearl-clutching parents online will continue to bash the movie. I don't know if you guys have looked at this recently, but E.T. has a whole bunch of bad reviews from Karens online right now. Go check it out. They will continue to bash the movie as not family-friendly, mostly due to some foul language. Now, we looked at the foul language that's in there. They say the words penis breath, douchebag, shit, and dickhead. And to be fair, though, E.T. does kind of look like a douchebag full of shit and with a dick for a head. So, you know, it's fitting, right? Par for the course,
he's very
right?
Scrotumish. So
he's very scrotumish.
Like and I bet his breath smells like dicks.
Yeah, I bet it does too. I mean, I bet it doesn't smell good. That's for damn sure. He looks like
it smells like Reese's Pieces, which is fucking awesome.
He looks like if someone put a flesh suit over Wally.
Flesh suit.
You know?
Oh man.
Oh my god.
E.T. is just
trying to be human.
It is.
Wow.
Yeah. Like that's a good horror movie right there.
You know, like I feel like the rating for E.T. though is, I think that's unfair because I feel like 80s ratings on movies aren't accurate to what they are. Like Gremlins is rated PG.
Yeah.
Like, it's not.
There's a lot of movies. I think they did like I think they fucked up. I think like Nerds or something.
Remember when we were sitting here talking about Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and we're like, oh, well, it was PG-13. It was PG-13. Who Framed Roger Rabbit was PG. Yeah. That should not have been PG.
Yeah.
No.
That was crazy.
Not at all.
Yeah.
We got soft.
We have coming up next in our countdown is another weird one coming from you, Kev. What you got for us at number 9?
Yeah, my weird one. I actually discovered this morning. I had to replace it for something else I had. Big Boy. I'm not sure who's gonna remember this. From the Rugrats episode, Angelica's Worst Nightmare. Not to be confused with my girlfriend there. For 13 years, Rugrats was one of the most popular cartoons on television. The adventures that Tommy Pickles and the gang used to get into were fun to watch. Probably gave kids ideas of their own. Most of these episodes were about life lessons and friendship, but there's one episode in particular that is hard to ignore. Season 3, an episode named Angelica's Worst Nightmare, centers around Angelica and the possibility of her mother having another baby. Since Angelica thinks the world revolves around her, she fears her only child status might be in the midst of destruction. After feeling neglected because of the news, Angelica has a dream in which a large and very low-voiced baby terrorizes her, steals her food, grows a foot taller out of nowhere, and tells her she's the old baby, which would terrify any and only child. Also, he basically turns into a kaiju and tries to eat her. And honestly, guys, I'm disappointed he didn't make the show's kaiju list last time.
I remember this
episode
guy.
now.
Yeah,
I remember it too.
yeah.
So you talk about it.
It was very
terrifying.
gummy and drooly, and it was terrifying.
And he had that low voice for a baby. Any low voice with a baby head kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, if you're not Uatu, you really need to watch out because that is
terrifying about babies in general.
It really is. There was a Resident Evil monster that was shaped like a giant fetus that crawled around. Like, and it had like this bloody tentacles and stuff like that. That thing was terrifying. And it had this scream that was mixed with like a child scream and like this low, like, you know, voice modulated, scary shit. Like, oh, that's nightmare fuel.
That was low-key the scariest part of Dante's Inferno. If you've ever played that game, you make it to purgatory and it's got all the like the unchristened babies, and they're just like got little blade arms and they run up at you and you're just like, ah. Anyway,
that's terrifying.
There's
Absolutely terrifying.
Dead by Daylight that has its baby twin attached to it that she uses as a weapon, basically.
Oh yeah, there is that.
Yeah.
That's hot.
There is that.
Gross and terrifying.
Yeah. And then Malignant, you know, all that stuff. Anyways, I got us in at number 8, another one from our childhood, another one that you probably wouldn't have expected, and that is going to be the smelly ass fucking Crumb. Real Monsters, a show that was supposed to be about fake monsters living under a sewer. Quickly created a real monstrosity. Crumb quickly turned into legitimate nightmare fuel for my developing brain. Crumb's hairy and human-like appearance made me wonder how such an abomination was made. He looks like a country club sauna come to life, right? The fact that his detached eyeballs still work even after he puts them in his mouth just really fucking disturbed me. He's got, like, he's a naked fat man thing that I just don't know what he is. What is he? He's just he's Crumb, you know. Honestly, I only watched a few episodes of the show because Crumb made me so uncomfortable. He mostly relies on his strong body odor as a way of his main scare strategy. So despite his strange appearance, Crumb is actually quite soft-spoken and rather timid. However, this hasn't stopped him from starring in a movie, or from contaminating a vat of perfume with his putrid stench. He is even with his antisocial behavior, he is, you know, one of the most he's, you know, one of the stars of the show. He's a prominent figure on this thing, and I couldn't stand him. He absolutely terrified me. Also, never Google realistic image of Crumb. Just don't. I'll save you the time. It's terrifying.
Everybody just Googled it.
Everybody just Googled it. Yeah, and I did put a picture of this in the Geeklife Discord for our admin to check out, just to get us in the mood for the show and see that, you know, what Crumb would look like in real life, right? Also, why'd they Ken doll him? Okay, you're gonna be naked everywhere else, and you're just gonna Ken doll this guy down here? Come on.
I want to see a sexy Crumb outfit. Can somebody do
sexy Crumb outfit?
Can someone do sexy Crumb?
I think that's just gonna have someone with like a mouth on their chest and like just like kind of crab walking back and forth.
Yeah, I want to see it.
I like that Crumb scared you. I feel like Real Monsters, that was the whole plot. Like, right? That was how they made money, basically. They were scaring kids. So I feel like
Danny DeVito. Danny DeVito,
Yeah.
there's your sexy Crumb right there.
Petition for
Call-
The
Oh,
Real
God.
Monsters live action, Danny DeVito as
Yeah.
Crumb would be solid.
Yeah.
Danny DeVito is like the ultimate fan cast. Like he gets
Bro.
fan cast in like everything.
Well,
Yeah.
he shouldn't be so amazing.
I know, right? For real. And number 7 on the list goes to you, Jake. What you got for number 7?
Yeah, number 7 on this week's countdown. It doesn't matter if you're a child or an adult. Goosebumps probably got you, especially the Haunted Mask episodes. It's one of the most horrifying things to ever be on television. But yes, number 7 on this week's countdown is Nickelodeon's own Goosebumps. We all remember the intro, dun, 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 dun. And so it's one of those that is literally iconic and it's in our heads forever. From the creepy man who owns the mask shop to the dark and lonely streets that Carly Beth has to walk down because she becomes a monster, to the demonic goblin mask itself. Other episodes that were notoriously scary are the Werewolf of Fever Swamp and Night of the Living Dummy. Both of those stayed with me for a very long time. The memories of those episodes still haunt my dreams to this very day. And honestly, it probably should be a lot higher on the list, but we all know that there's a lot of great ones on here. This whole list itself is a doozy. What was your favorite Goosebump episode, guys?
My favorite, or the one that scared the shit out of me? Because it's
Scared you the
definitely
most.
It's got to be Night of the Living Dummy.
Not a living dummy. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Same here.
dummies
Same
are
here. I remember
scary
that one.
in general, but that one was fucking freaky.
Yeah, that was probably the most terrifying Goosebumps creature I could think of. But also, I feel like Kevin and I really don't like living dolls.
It's
I feel like
dolls, man.
that's-
It's
yeah,
weird.
they're fucking.
It's
I don't
weird.
like.
Why do people like them? Dolls and clowns. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't understand the draw.
I don't understand it either, man. I really don't.
Yeah.
But
Just
yeah,
saying, you make
Goosebumps
it
is
up
absolute
to-
classics.
You make it up to the gates and they're like, all right, what got you? And you're just like, fucking ventriloquist dummy. You know, it's just like, what? Like that's what got you? Annabelle's like a porcelain doll.
Mhm.
You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
A
Yep.
buddy doll got me. That's what got me, fam. Like,
Yeah, I'm
no.
gonna be like sitting there, be like, "What the? He was like this tall, and they couldn't see him coming, and he was running low. It was at my ankles."
He had a screwdriver. It's
Yeah,
always a
upgraded.
fucking screwdriver.
Yeah.
Always a screwdriver.
Yeah.
Number 6 on the countdown goes back to you, Kev. What you got for number 6?
Yeah, like Jake, here we have something else that has an iconic theme song that still haunts me to this day. Thanks, Netflix reboot. The Unsolved Mysteries theme song. Unsolved Mysteries use a documentary format to profile real-life mysteries. That's why it was so fucking scary. And featured reenactment of unsolved crimes, missing persons cases, conspiracy theories, and unexplained paranormal phenomenon like alien abductions, ghosts, UFOs, and secret history theories. Concept was created in a series of 3 specials produced by John Cosgrove and Terry Dunn Muir, which were pitched to NBC in 1985 and shown in 1986 with the title Missing. Have you seen this person? The success of this specials led to Cosgrove and Muir to broaden the series to include mysteries of all kinds. This theme song still haunts me to this day. I tried watching the Netflix episode and kind of just turned it off. Adult me is kind of glad they brought it back for a nostalgic person, for nostalgic reasons. But then when I sit down to watch it, child me comes out, it exclaims, "Why?" You know, and again, they're real life mysteries. I get that they're unsolved. I get that, but why are you asking me if I've seen these people? Like that's what terrifies me. Like the end of
Right.
the episodes were like, if you've seen this person or have any more
Because
information.
then, like, you're at the drugstore the next day, and you're like, "Is that?" You could be like
Yeah,
wearing
yeah.
is it maybe with a hoodie up? Is that how?
Exactly.
I'm watching you, buddy. You know, like.
Exactly. Exactly.
Man,
Yeah.
there was an episode of Unsolved Mysteries that was talking about fucking chupacabras back in the day. And I remember that one straight up because it gave me nightmares. And, you know, it's one of those where, like, the Unsolved Mystery was really a bunch of people's goats and shit getting fucked with, you know, and they tried to blame it on chupacabras because a lot of people don't know it. But the original Unsolved Mysteries, and even the new one had an alien episode, it sometimes would get into the supernatural. And
Oh,
so that Chupacabra
Yeah.
episode stuck with me for a long time because they actually had like reenactments of the Chupacabra, and I was like
Yeah.
watching this as a kid and like was like, "What the fuck is a Chupacabra?"
And that's
And
what I
so-
mean. Like they'll talk about the chupacabra, but like if you have any information, like what do you mean? This thing's
Yeah,
not
what
supposed
do
to
you
be
mean? Like, I
real.
need any information on the Chupacabra. Yeah, and then the next
Right.
episode is like a real little girl on the back of a fucking milk carton. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your neighbor, little
Yeah.
Susie, is in one
Yeah.
episode, and the next one is talking about goddamn Chupacabras as if they
Yeah.
are the same thing as Susie. And
Yeah.
so like, yeah, nah, man, fuck
Yeah.
Unsolved
It was
Mysteries.
too real for me. It was too real.
Yeah, it's too real, and it's one of the things when the, when the series got too real is always the ones that terrified me the most. I do remember
Yeah.
it wasn't Unsolved Mysteries, but several episodes of Forensic Files definitely gave me some fucking nightmares because I watched that way too young.
Yeah.
But those are about real
Another one.
murders, like real murders.
Yeah.
So well,
The good ones.
see how that is. The good ones. Jake, back to you for number 5 on the countdown. Who terrified you in the number 5 spot as a child?
At number 5 on this week's countdown, we got Judge Doom from Who
God.
Framed Roger Rabbit. And man, dude, Roger Rabbit getting a lot of shout outs in this one. Christopher Lloyd as Judge Doom was undoubtedly iconic. He was just as terrifying as he was brilliant. The scene that we've never been able to shake from our memory is the one where Judge Doom slowly lowers a cute little shoe into a vat of acid. I think we can all remember that one. And who could forget the scene where his eyes turn red, as we have here, and start to bulge out of their sockets as he reveals that he is actually a dun 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 Toon. And sorry for the spoiler, everyone. Frankly, every scene featuring that menacing Judge Doom was nightmare-inducing for any kid who watched this film back in the 80s and 90s. If you think Lloyd's portrayal of Doom was bad, be thankful Tim Curry didn't get the part. The Rocky Horror star came close to nabbing the role, but producers ultimately decided that he would have actually been too scary. And so think about that for a minute. This iconic Christopher Lloyd role, Judge Doom, really awesome. Who Framed Roger Rabbit, really great antagonist, very scary to me as a kid, was almost played by Tim fucking Curry. And they decided not to pull the trigger on that one because he would have been too scary. And so, like, I really want to see I want to see Tim Curry reading these lines. You know what I mean? I want to see what he would have brought to the table. That would have been a lot of fun. But yeah, so number 5 on this week's countdown, Judge Doom, Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Scary as fuck as a kid. This particular spot right here that we have over. Oh no, it's on this side. I'm wrong. Over here. That shit.
Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. Especially with those eyes, right? Those eyes are super duper creepy.
And his voice started to go up and everything. It was a really unsettling part in that movie.
Oh yeah. Moving right along though, number 4 on the countdown. Do what?
Sorry, didn't he melt also? Like, isn't that how he died?
Yeah, that's how they got it.
Oh yeah,
like
that wasn't a fun scene either.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah. That one stuck around in the noggin for a while. Number 4 on the countdown though, going right back to you, Kev, is another one from our childhood that probably shouldn't have scared us as much as it did, but God did it. Number 4 on the countdown, Kev.
Yeah, something that delayed my watching of the animated series for a while as a kid. Man-Bat. Man-Bat is Kirk Langstrom, the scientist who developed a serum that transforms him into a bat creature. This has made him a formidable adversary to Batman. Langstrom hates turning into a monster and constantly works to cure himself. Bruce Wayne has become close friends with Langstrom and helps fund his research. Ultimately, Langstrom says, "Fuck that shit. I'm gonna learn how to become Man-Bat and keep my intelligence," which he does. And later, his wife, She-Bat, also dons on the human bat form, who's also equally as terrifying. So yeah, Man-Bat scared the shit out of me.
Yeah. Absolutely terrifying. If you've been watching me play Arkham Knight recently, you have even more reason to be terrified of him because he's in Arkham Knight. He's the king of jump scares, and he's absolutely fucking terrifying. They did a really, really good job of making Man-Bat of an absolute terrifying monster in Arkham Knight, and you don't really get to fight him very much, which I think would have been better. But there is a lot of jumping on him from the air, which is always very action packed. And yeah, I mean, it was really cool to see that. There also may or may not be some surprises on my Halloween stream regarding Man Bat. So definitely tune in, twitch.tv/Roostbane. I may even do that stream on Geek Life. I don't know yet. We're gonna have some fun stuff going on for Halloween, so definitely stick around and check out the channel for that. But moving right along in our countdown, Jake, you have number 3, and this is one that you talked to us for a while. That like this one legitimately terrified you as a child. For a bit. What comes in at number 3?
Yeah, real nightmare inducing at number 3, the ghost in the library in Ghostbusters. She appears for just a moment, but the mild-mannered library's ghost suddenly transforms into a horrific specter in Ghostbusters and gave us some of the biggest scares of our young lives. 1 second she's floating around looking at books, and then she kind of like turns into this zombie-esque demon out of fucking nowhere. The suddenness of this transformation made for one of the spookiest jump scares that left us having bad dreams for weeks. If you managed to watch this as a kid without having to peek through your fingers, fucking kudos to you, mate. And sadly, the actress who played the library ghost passed away shortly after the film was complete, which is, death, the ultimate thing, right? R.I.P. to Ruth Oliver, who wasn't just the library ghost, she was also an accomplished astrologer, writer, and teacher.
There you go.
But yeah, number 3 on this week's countdown, the fucking library ghost, man. Super scary. The cabbie got me too. I don't know if you guys remember Ghostbusters, the first one, but the cabbie in this one right here got me. And the one that was the weirdest to me was when the ghost starts undoing Bill Murray's pants, and the ghost wants to fuck Bill Murray. Because this movie made me feel everything. It was like fear, but then also intrigued.
Right.
Can I get a blowjob from a ghost? And so anyway, it's
ectoplasm all over the place.
Yeah, Ghostbusters, man. Roller coaster of emotions.
You know what's funny though? I feel like Ghostbusters could easily blend into the horror genre if it wasn't so comedic.
Brings a whole new meaning to the name Ghostbusters.
Right?
You got ghosts unzipping your pants.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Well, we talked about number 2 in the countdown a number of different times throughout this episode because it's been so fucking terrifying. But number 2, the one that terrified both me and Kev more than anybody else in the fucking world has got to be Chucky. Nothing scared the shit out of me like Chucky did. Charles Lee Chucky Ray is a vicious serial killer, and as he bleeds out from a gunshot wound, he transfers his soul into a good guy doll and continuously tries to transfer into a human body. Pretending to be an inanimate object, Chucky later is given to young Andy Barclay, played by Alex Vincent, and begins terrorizing the family even when they realize he's alive. Despite being a killer on the run, Chucky is actually quite the family man. He's the only slasher goon that I know of that has a wife and a kid and even his own cult. He's really growing out there. I have been...
That's Ted Bundy.
Yes, Ted Bundy. There you go. I have been absolutely terrified of dolls ever since watching Chucky. Legitimately, this is the movie that gave me nightmares, made me sleep with the lights on, especially due to growing up. I had a large room at my stepdad's place, right? And from my closet to the front door, there was an area that was blocked off, and it was like a little attic area. And there was these tiny little doors, right? Chucky-sized doors. Okay. And that back part of the attic would always creak and crack the whole time, right? And it always, in my fucking head, I would always sit there being like, it's Chucky. That's Chucky obviously running around back there in the little Chucky area with the Chucky doors, because he can fit through the doors because they're Chucky sized. It made sense when I was in 6th grade, but that was something that legitimately terrified me about Chucky. Kev, I know that you were also terrified by Chucky. What do you got to say about Chucky making number 2 here?
Like, I watched Chucky when I was 4 years old, which basically ruined all horror movies for me for until I was an adult. Until I got I just could not, and even my friends growing up would make fun of me because they knew I hated horror movies. They would tease me for it, but I just couldn't do it. I was fucking terrified. And then slowly, surely, I guess maybe I just got jaded or desensitized to them. I was able to start watching them and start appreciating them for what they were, But Yeah, no, Chucky was I think like my first really exposure to a horror movie in general, which for a 4-year-old kid who has toys, I was just worried that one of them was gonna come to life and murder me after
Mhm.
that. So that was
Yeah.
kind of my philosophy, and to what Jake was saying, it's like, hey, he's a little dog, just kick him, get him out the way. They've tried. I'm pretty.
Yeah,
They've like
they
set
did. They
him on
burned him.
fire. They've
Yeah.
done so many things, and he just keeps coming. You can't kill him. He's indestructible.
Can't kill him because
For
there's a
some reason.
soul in the body right there. Like, and it's an
Yes.
inanimate object. It was never living to begin with. So like, you could take off
Right.
his arms, still soul's still in there. Take off his head, soul's still in there,
Gonna
right?
find
It's
another
not.
doll. Like
It's not.
You're-
You don't have to worry about anatomy, and so terrifying, absolutely terrifying.
yeah.
Yeah, I had a young single mother that let me pretty much watch whatever.
Yeah.
And I watched Chucky as a kid, and it was literally just one of those things. It was one of my favorite movies. I shit you not,
Yeah.
like as a young kid, I thought Chucky was hilarious. I thought it was a very funny movie. And I don't know why that didn't give more red flags to the parents. But anyway,
Should have, definitely should have.
yeah, so that's why like I can't get like in my head that Chucky's scary, because I think in my head Chucky's almost like I watched that at the same time I was watching like other kid shows, and so like it was just
Well,
like
and that's the funny thing too, where it's like he did. I think as the movies went on, it did get progressively more comedic.
Yeah.
It was like
Yeah.
almost comedy. It was like a joke, right? But those
by like
first two
Bride of
child plays,
Chucky,
man,
it's comedy.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
You know.
Easily. But like those first, like I don't even watch those, not because they're scary, just like it just seems like a waste of time. But like those first two child plays, man, were fucking like terrifying.
I'm interested in actually trying to go back through and watch these now because I feel like I'm at the stage where I can. Because I want to see like the whole progression of going from Bride of Chucky to Cult and to all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
How they
Um,
get there, yeah.
but it's
I
like
want to
six
watch.
movies. Like that's a lot.
I want to watch the new one that came out I think 2 years ago.
Oh yeah,
Mark
that's what I'll
Hamill
probably
as
do. I'll
Chucky.
probably just start with the new Mark Hamill reboot because it's Mark Hamill
Yeah.
as Chucky.
Yeah.
Like the goat.
Yeah.
Zigote.
The goat. All right. Now we're down to number one. The number one thing that scared us the most as a child, and Jake wrote the countdown. So Jake, take us home.
Yeah, number one on this week's countdown is Freaky Fred, or to be honest, most of the characters from Courage the Cowardly Dog. Everyone who grew up watching Courage the Cowardly Dog must find it pretty creepy to some extent. Whether they were kids when they watched it and had nightmares of all the horrors Courage faced, or adults, and the show just got darker than most kids' shows these days. The characters, good and bad, were utterly terrifying for one reason or another. Whether they tormented Courage and the bags, which is like Eustace Bag and everything. A lot of people don't know that, but anyway, or actually send the family, Muriel and Eustace. And so like the family to a haunted inn. These characters were enough to scar all of those who watched the unforgettable scenes. But one of the freakiest had to be Freaky Fred. There really is no freakier character. It's literally in his name in this haunting series. There is no character like Fred. Sorry, lost my fucking train of thought there. There really is no freakier character in this haunting TV series quite like Freaky Fred. The character isn't actually evil by any means, but he's extremely evident that he is definitely deranged. He is obsessed with cutting hair and speaks only in whimsical yet spooky rhymes. Fred has a need to make things naughty, as he feels it manages to fit in his personality. Fred was only in one episode, and it didn't do anything that terrible other than shaving almost all of Courage's fur off. Yet he managed to be one of the most memorable villains of all time in the series, and I think it's understandable. He was like kind of I watched this one video one time where somebody broke down and like Freaky Fred's kind of supposed to like represent that like weird stranger danger, almost like pedophile type characteristic person that's like, he says throughout the whole thing, like, it's rather naughty, right? And like, it's kind of like unsettling, and he does the whole like haircutting thing. And like, while he doesn't ever really do anything bad, you always don't want like to be in the room alone with him, right? Like there's always just something unsettling about him. And so I think that's why he's one of the most scariest creatures from Courage. He's definitely one of the freakiest, and there's a whole list. I swear we could have made top 10
true story about
scariest
Courage.
things from Courage.
Yeah, true story about Courage the Cowardly Dog. A lot of it is based off true stories. which is terrifying. There is actually in the middle of nowhere, New Mexico, is an actual place in New Mexico where a couple had a house that was literally, there was nobody else around them, and they lived there with their dog, and they reported many different strange events, including identifying a skinwalker, which if you guys have ever heard of, skinwalkers are one of the most terrifying things in folklore, and that's who the Return the Slab character is based off of. Freaky Fred is actually based off of somebody who visited the house and wanted to buy it for a Hollywood set, which is the plot of the actual episode. And there's a whole bunch of different Courage the Cowardly Dog stories that are actually based on actual things that happened at this house. Even the characters there, I believe Eustace is based off of a murderer, and Muriel was based off of his wife, whose body they found. And so like whoever greenlit this did not realize that this person was obviously like a sociopath that's trying to get like this horror. I don't know if there was a sociopath that they were just trying to bring these terrifyingly scary elements into a kids show and kind of welcome a new generation into horror in general. I don't know what they were thinking with Courage the Cowardly Dog, but that was a freaky fucking show.
It was. But I mean, that's what made it great, it was kind of like that weird midday scare. Like who else doesn't want to get out of school and go home and watch a horror
right,
like
these
horror
are
show.
horror stories that happen most of the time in the middle of the day too. Right, that was the scariest thing about him. Also, why did Courage have a hole in his tooth? Why was it a perfectly drilled hole? Did anybody notice that whenever he screamed there was this hole in one of his teeth?
Dogs can't get fillings.
It's just,
but it was like someone drilled cavities through it.
Yeah, you gotta get the cavity out of there.
let's see.
I don't know.
What's
grow up, Dotson.
I
think someone abused that dog.
About
somebody abused that dog. No, he was abused. Yeah,
drilled a hole through the teeth.
He certainly was. Yeah, by Eustace. But yeah, I think Jake was like, I think what's scary is about him is that he doesn't do anything wrong, but you just know he's waiting to. Like, like I feel like they could have just made a whole movie about Freaky Fred just this episode, and Freaky Fred would never have to kill anybody, but just his actions and him doing all the shit that he did. Like
the Return the Slab guy as well, and you have the Fox dude. That Fox dude was fucking freaky too.
The mattress episode, basically the Exorcist episode, the one where she bought the possessed mattress, that was scary.
That was terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
This show was just terrifying all around, and that's why it's number one on the countdown.
Yeah, that's why Courage takes the cake for this countdown, and the top 10 things that terrified us as children. And with that will wrap it up for this episode of Geek Life. We hope you guys have enjoyed everything today. And remember, if you want more Geek Life, you can always follow any of us on any of our socials. You can find me at Roos Bane on Twitch, Twitter, and TikTok. Jake, where can they find you?
You can find me at Gonzo Gone Live on both the Twitch and the Twitterverse.
And Kev, what about you?
You can find me at Totally Awesome.
And if you're watching this on YouTube, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're watching this anywhere, really, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We could always use the likes. We super duper appreciate them. And big shout out to our moderator, Littlest Nelly, as always, keeping the chat nice and squeaky clean. Big shout out to some of the people that got by. Extreme Greatness. We've got Savage Patch Kid. We've got Littlest Nelly here. We've got, of course, Gonzo and Kev here as well with us, popping in chat and helping out, and even Godzilla walking around in the background. And thank you guys so much for all the new friends and follows and everything like that. We will be back at the same time, same place in 2 weeks. And
well, we may be back next week for a Halloween special.
We
don't know yet. We don't know yet. Stay tuned. We may do something special for Halloween.
We may do something special. I don't know if it's going to be a full show, but I think that we're definitely going to try to see what we can do on this channel to do something fun for Halloween. And we're going to try to engage the community. Hey, maybe some Among Us might be among us.
I want to scare you guys.
So let's definitely check that out. If you want to join in on that Halloween fun, you definitely want to join the Discord below. There's a big button that says join the Nerd Herd. It's got a little Oregon Trail wagon on there that has the big NH on there. Click on that, join the Discord, and you'll have a great time. But yeah, that about wraps it up for this show, guys. We'll catch you guys next time.
All right,
peace.
Y'all.
Deuces.